Welcome back everyone, DestinysJesus here. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how to W key in trios. I'm going to be using the new trio of KIRYACHE, TOOSE and STORMYRITE. KIRYACHE himself has had a massive resurgence recently, started popping off again, and he's been playing absolutely insane. They won the last trio's cash cup with 205 points, 4 wins and some absolutely insane W key games. And as you can see over here as well, in the FNCS qualifier 2, they actually went ahead and won as well, which automatically qualifies them to the grand finals, and they've been playing absolutely insane recently. You can check out a bunch of different fighting strategies they're doing, how they're getting an advantage in mid-game fights, and basically everything that you guys can learn from them to improve as a trio during off-spawn, mid-game fighting, and everything like that. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to go check out the Trios Masterclass below if you actually want to improve at Trios. Loads of other pro videos on there that you guys can learn from as well. And make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Okay, so this is the very first game of the Cash Cup, and probably the most important thing that I think most teams mess up on when it comes to W keying and Trios and actually wanting to get into fight is trying to optimize their loadout to actually fight. So you can see here, STORMYRITE is running a pump and an SMG. Prime SMG is really good at close range, does a lot of damage, allows him to easily trade and swap from shotgun to SMG and then get a quick kill. He's also running a harpoon to kind of balance that loadout where he can jump into a box if need be. TOOSE, most importantly here, is running the Stinkfish, probably the most broken item this season. It's extremely strong for getting into a box and also making sure that you split up the enemies, and if you carry them during mid-game or endgame, they are pretty much guaranteed kills if you use them properly. Also note how he's using the jellyfish instead of wasting them earlier, just so if need be he can heal his teammates quickly, like using it as a chug splash. And then KIRYACHE, most importantly here, is running a gas can. Gas cans are so broken mainly because it allows you to go for piece control and also split up your enemies. So 2 of their loadout inventories in the 15 loadout inventory spots are basically guaranteed trying to split up the enemies and create isolatable 1v1s, which is what we're going to see here in a second. So this is the very first game of the Cash Cup. Let's see how they use those 2 items to actually open the fight and gives themselves an advantage. First of all, is just taking this fight on Edge Storm, immediately go for a high take so you obviously can control how the fight pace goes, and then TOOSE immediately start spamming the Stinkfish. These could be saved for later on, but just trying to use them here to get these quick kills is really important, and most importantly it splits them up. Now as you can see, as soon as he throws those Stinkfish, he comes over to KIRYACHE, who's isolating one, and what is KIRYACHE doing? He's using that gas can, as I mentioned a second ago, to try to create some space and actually go for a drop down box up play on this guy. So he comes in, gets the piece control, gets all the pieces, and he's actually fighting with TOOSE at this time. And what is STORMYRITE doing during this time, which is probably the most crucial thing, while these 2 are fighting together versus the solo, he is staying on height, most importantly tracking where the opponents are, calming everything, drops down on the solo player, catches him completely off guard in the back, then catches another Elam with this other player running out him at the same time. It's a nice aim. And then from here, it's a pretty simple fight. He's got 2 knocked, KIRYACHE goes down at the same time, but all they need to do is just play together, and they're easily able to clean up the 3rd guy, and then reboot. Really simple stuff, and you can see how that fight didn't last more than like 30 seconds just because of how intelligent their utility usage is during the start of that fight. So during this next 3v3 engagement they have on this bridge, they actually don't really have any utility to give themselves an advantage or to use it to create an advantage. So you can see right here what they do. Most importantly, he's trying to get an initial knock as quick as possible. So STORMYRITE actually rams that kid of the car, gives him some damage, but most importantly, it sets up a different angle. These guys think they all got out of the car right in front of them. They're kind of build fighting, keeping them busy, and there's 2 of the players here at the same time. KIRYACHE and TOOSE are fighting together. So these guys are obviously coming as 2 on them. So they kind of forget about where Stormy is. So the guy that is low HP is able to isolate him very quickly, get into a solo 1v1 as quick as possible, jumps in the box from above, gets the easy Elam, and now it's very simple. Whenever you're in a situation where it's 2v3, all you need to do is make sure your teammates stay alive. So TOOSE does the correct thing here just by reboxing, making some space, playing kind of safe right and peak angles, and most importantly just staying alive, right? He's not taking any necessary risks or a pump trade or something. He's just staying alive as long as possible, not giving himself up to get knocked, and then all they need to do is wait for STORMYRITE to get the loot, come over, and they can win the 2v3 box fight pretty simply after this. So one thing that this team is always trying to do during the mid game, especially when it's kind of in these hilly areas, is trying to look for a beam. So obviously for Surge as well, but if you can get an easy knock on a player, it's a very simple job of making sure you get the 2v3. So you can see right here how they would set this up. They're just playing around from this elevation on the hill, they hear a team in a car, and it makes for a very easy knock since they get all 3 of them beaming at the same time. Get the knock right there, and then what is the most crucial part of actually closing these fights quickly is obviously STORMYRITE with the Stinkfish. So he's able to come in from above, just start lobbing Stinkfish, and most importantly, as they're doing the Stinkfish, it's not just all pressuring from above and all pressuring from the same angle. Look at the split angles that they're getting. TOOSE is going the whole way over towards his right hand side, KIRYACHE is going from above and spraying as he's jumping down, and then Stormy is coming the whole way wide to the left hand side, able to spray through, and then catch an easy Elam since the guy is trying to deal with the Stinkfish and edit out at the same time. From there, it's a really simple job, and they basically get 3 players worth of stacked loot during the mid game for really little risk as well, since it's just a 3-to-1. They can disengage most of the time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what these guys are doing in their off spawn to be so consistent during all the cash cups and all the FNCSs that they're playing. And these strategies that they're doing will apply over to any other drop spot that you guys land at, as long as it's kind of a little more built up here and it's not a straight 50-50. So they're landing a Swirpy Swamp, and they're pushing this duo since they've already killed one on the 50-50 chest. So they're basically going to come over here and start this fight. The most important thing whenever you start a fight and you know that the other team is in this position like here is to try to have one of your players act as kind of a point man. So you can see how KIRYACHE is going to take the brute force, the attention, make these guys build towards him, and then look at the other 2 players' angles. Stormy is coming from the far right. He's going to be able to try and get some damage in just from being on a different angle where he's not really spotted immediately. KIRYACHE is building up to take height, as you can see there, and then TOOSE is coming over from the far left. Obviously, in most cases, he could just be going for a beam at the same time, but because other buildings are here, he's actually just going to go ahead and farm up and then sneak in through this building and try to get a sneaky flank on these guys since they don't really expect it. Most important thing whenever you're doing this is don't die. Let your other 2 players that are working together go ahead and actually fight together. So you can see how KIRYACHE is spraying from above and jumping in. Stormy is coming in from this angle here, able to get an immediate knock, and now all 3 of them just commit and kill this last player at the same time, so they don't take too much damage. So this is a fight where these guys are basically taking a straight 3v3 fight, and they don't really have any stinkfish, and they haven't got a massive advantage in terms of getting a knock to open the fight. This is one of those fights that normally I would recommend not taking, but these guys obviously know these players aren't the best since this is only FNCS round 2 or something, so they're quite comfortable in taking it. So first of all, what's KIRYACHE doing? He's building over top of this other player with hard mats, metal especially, just so he doesn't get broken out by the other 2. He's trying to figure out exactly where these players are, and also trying to keep them busy and get all the attention on him. Again, he's kind of been that point guy, right? Then he gets a 100 tag on that guy, stops him and forces him to heal up for the next 10 plus seconds. And while he's doing this, he's coming exactly where the other players that his teammates can isolate. You can see there, he actually marked where the other player is for STORMYRITE and TOOSE to go ahead and focus on over him. So let's have a look at TOOSE's POV as he comes in towards this other player here. He's going to go ahead and drop down with this really safe wall play strategy that you can do where you actually sit behind the ramp, so you completely take away the guys around peak advantage, gets the wall, gets a big tag in to begin with, and now he's very comfortable at 50-50 in the box like this. You can lose this 50-50, I do agree with that, but this is completely safe in my opinion because STORMYRITE is perfectly here to go ahead and trade if anything bad was to happen. And the whole time they've been doing this, look where KIRYACHE's been. He's been sitting on top of these other 2 players on top of the duo, so they can't even help. And obviously you got that big HP chunk on these guys, so they couldn't even help out if they wanted to because they needed to heal. Really simple stuff, just going for a big beam on one of the players and then getting so much damage in that they're forced to heal, and then you isolate as a duo versus the solo. Stormy comes in here, gets a knock on these players since they're at shambles, and then they're able to just quickly, easily heal all the rest of these guys. So let's take another example of how these guys set up versus a team that is boxed up altogether. Oftentimes you're going to be fighting a team that is fully boxed up, so you should do exactly what they do here. And it's basically versus a good team in semi-finals. How do you take this fight, which normally is going to be quite risky because you're on edge third, there's quite a lot to lose here, there could be a decent team as well, especially because this is the semi-finals. How do you make it completely risk-free? First of all, it's just by having good setups and good fundamentals. Look how far away STORMYRITE sets up. A full box away, edits this nice arch right here, covers all of the angles above and around himself, then he does another arch. So if these guys were to try to make a run out play, he has 2 different walls that you can reset, then ramp, and then just go up above and make a very safe escape. So right here, you just immediately start spraying in, get some damage, and you're running. What his teammates doing at the same time? Obviously, they're not going to split up and do the same thing. They're going to act as a duo and work together. Make sure they're always trying to play their pumps out together so they can actually go for an initial knock. STORMYRITE is spraying this entire time, causing a lot of havoc, making these guys panic. You can see that the guy's actually facing the wrong way just because of how STORMYRITE is spraying through. Again, blocking off all the angles, covering everything, doing these nice wide arch edits that are really easy and safe to reset if need be. Keep spraying through the whole time, blocking off all the unnecessary angles, and then he's just going to wait for his teammates, and these guys actually force them to actually make a mistake. Because of how they're pressuring from 2 different sides, 180 degrees difference, actually catch an easy limb on this first guy, and now it's very simple. All 3 of them are in the box together, playing pumps out. It should be very easy. All they need to do is just out-aim these other players as they come down. So they're Elim onto TOOSE right there, convert on the other guy, and now all 3 of them just commit into fighting versus this last guy. You can see how STORMYRITE actually cones the guy from a distance right there, and they all just jump in and kill him at the same time. Really simple stuff, a good trio that's boxed up on edge third, just because of how they set up those angles, how easy they're able to do it, and also the fact that acting as a duo means they get those elims pretty quickly as well. That's all for this video. I hope you guys learned a couple new things about trio W King. I personally am really happy that this trio has actually qualified to finals. It's really good to see KIRYACHE come back and be really in form, and also STORMYRITE is one of the most entertaining players to watch, as well as TOOSE, since they're always just W King and taking a lot of fights. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to go check out the Trios Masterclass below. I'll leave a link to it so you guys can check out if you want to improve at Trios. We're adding some more videos to this week as well, which you guys should definitely watch out for. And also make sure to go follow me on Twitter in case you don't. And also make sure to go join my community Discord down below in case you don't already.